Who's a fit for your team? Who's a fit for your environment? You don't have time to go back and build your team a second time. You don't have time for that. And neither do I. So if you're going to really build a team, if you're really going to build the team that you desire, you have to start with the right kinds of people. I know what kind of people I'm looking for. I'm looking for people that are likable. I'm looking for people that are trustworthy. I'm looking for people that have desire. And I'm looking for people that are committed. Man, I know a lot of people that have desire, but that aren't committed. I know a lot of likable people that aren't trustworthy. I'm looking for likability, trustworthiness. I'm looking for committed, and I'm looking for desire. If those four things are present, man, I will go to the ends of the earth to work with that person to develop them into a leader within this team.
All this shit for entertainment. Crazy thinking that it's day one.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Momentum Monday podcast. My name is Steve Holbrook, and as usual, guess what? I'm fired up to be here. Where else would I rather be? Nowhere in the world than right here in the studio filming this podcast. So welcome. If you've been with us for a while, this is your second, third, fourth time. Welcome back. We appreciate you being here. If it's your first time, welcome to Momentum Monday. I hope by the end of this, you'll subscribe, you'll like, you'll comment, you'll share, give it some love. We appreciate everybody for being here today. Today, we're talking about building teams. I think there's a lot of people that are watching this that are either in the team building business, or they're in charge of building teams, or they're interested in how to lead and how to manage teams. We're going to talk about that. There's some keys to doing it. You need to understand the game. If you don't understand how to do it, you're not going to figure it out on your own. You have to be shown by someone who's done it. You have to learn from someone who's further down the path. So today's episode is all about keys on building a team, building a successful team. Look, building a team can be extremely fruitful. It can be extremely rewarding. You're going to learn more about yourself while building a team than you ever thought you possibly could. But there's going to be some days that it's going to take you to your knees. You're going to be challenged. You're going to cry way before you get there. You got to be prepared. You got to understand. Not every day is going to be great, but overall, man, it's going to be worth it. Don't forget why you started. Don't forget the dream that you had, because the bigger the dream, the bigger the team. I'm fired up. Let's get into it. All right, 6 keys to building a team. Number 1, you need to understand what a great team is. You need to understand what a great team is, what a great team looks like. If you've never been on a great team, then you don't know what a great team looks like. And if you have been on a great team, you need to be able to identify what a great team does. For example, a great team has a clear vision from the top on where we're going. People have roles. There's clear communication. There's open space for feedback. And you know what? Within that great vision of the team, all the key players find their own vision within the greater team's vision. And if you can start to have some of those factors when you start, then you can really start to build on that as a foundation. That's what a great team looks like. Those are some of the raw ingredients, because we have to start with the end in mind. If you don't know what you're trying to build, if you don't know what it's going to look like, if you can't see where we're going with it, you're not going to know what to do. So my number 1 point was you need to understand what a great team is. Number 2, so now that we understand what a great team is, number 2 is you need to start with the right material. You need to start with the right raw material, the right kind of people. Listen, you can't have the wrong kind of person in the environment. You can't just want it so bad for somebody. Like when you bring somebody on board and you say, oh, she really needs this. Well, yeah, everybody needs this. But who wants it? Who's a fit for your team? Who's a fit for your environment? You don't have time to go back and build your team a second time. You don't have time for that. And neither do I. So if you're going to really build a team, if you're really going to build the team that you desire, you have to start with the right kinds of people. I know what kind of people I'm looking for. I'm looking for people that are likable. I'm looking for people that are trustworthy. I'm looking for people that have desire, and I'm looking for people that are committed. Man, I know a lot of people that have desire, but that aren't committed. I know a lot of likable people that aren't trustworthy. I'm looking for likability, trustworthiness. I'm looking for committed, and I'm looking for desire. If those 4 things are present, man, I will go to the ends of the earth to work with that person, to develop them into a leader within this team. But you got to start with the right people. You want to work with people that are gonna, buck you the entire time. They're gonna grind against you. You're trying to fix people. Are you hiring people because it'd be a great story if you fix it? Look, I believe that we got to everybody deserves a shot in life. But if you have a clear picture of what you want your team to look like, you also have to have a clear idea of the kinds of people that would be a fit for your team, or you're going to tolerate anything. You need standards. Start with standards. Start with identifying the right material. Number 3, build leaders within your team. You want to build a great team? You need to build leaders within your team. Look, what kind of a team do you want? Do you dream of having 100 followers that all follow you and you're the master? Or do you dream of having a team of 10 leaders that can each lead 10 people and everybody gets attention, and you build it in a way where you can get free? So you got to build leaders within your team. You got to learn how to raise them up. You got to figure out who to be spending your time with. You have to figure out when to challenge them and when to back off, when to ask them a question about their family, when to ask them a question about their accountability in their business. You need to learn to build leaders. So how do I do it? There's lots of different ways. One of the ways is I match up responsibility. As somebody starts to step up, as somebody starts to gain confidence, if I know that that person is just this close to being independent or this close to taking the next step, what I'll do is I'll put them in a situation where I know they can win. Maybe it's a less qualified appointment. Maybe it's an easier interview. Maybe it's an easier close. And I'll set them up on that appointment so they can knock that domino over and get a small win, because it's small wins that build people. So if you can put people in a position where they can start getting some small wins, you lift them up. You get them on a call to speak in front of 5 people or 10 people. You give them 3 minutes to speak instead of 1. You just start to give them a little bit more exposure where they start to walk on their own, but you're still there to catch them if they fall. That's how you build leaders. They need to know that you trust them. And then you know what? They'll end up taking a bullet for you. And that's what you want. You want to build that. If they don't feel like you ever trust them with anything, what kind of a team are you trying to build? So, build leaders within your team. Build people up within your teams. Put people in a role where they're managing or they're leading that division or those people. And then part of you can be free or freed up to go and build new people, to acquire new clients, to work in other areas of your business. Number 4, help build a bond within the team. You really want to help build that bond. You really want to make sure that there's glue in that team. You want people to get to know each other on a personal level. So I do lots of different things. Sometimes I'll match 2 people up. I'll say, hey, Mark, why don't you connect with Steve on a Zoom call? And why don't you guys just tell each other stories? I'll match people up like on friendship Zoom calls within my team. And now we're in this COVID era. People can't exactly see each other. But if I'll match 2 people up with the same energy, the same story, I'll get them to know each other because I want them building a bond of friendship. So when they hop on the next team meeting, they're kind of looking, oh, there's Mark. Oh, there's Steve. So I match people up. Help build that bond. There's team building events. Have people over, right? I'm famous for setting people up in the business, right? There's a lot of people that met their significant other within our organization and got married. Might be like, well, why, what does that have to do with anything? Because I match people up. I match energy. So you see somebody over here, see somebody over there. They have the same energy, the same background, same story, a couple single moms, something in common. You match them up. And that's going to be key because you need trust within that team. And you can't just be everybody directly with you. There's got to be that bond inside the team because you know what? Friends don't quit on friends. But if somebody's in your environment, they feel alienated, they kind of feel like they're on the outside looking in, they have a couple bad months, they go quiet for a bit, they're just going to slip away and no one's going to notice. You need to give them a reason to stick around. Maybe when the money's not flowing in or they're not super satisfied, they got some stuff going on at home. You need them a reason, you need an extra reason for them to stick around. And if they're super tight with somebody on the team, if there's that tight bond, everybody logs on the calls, everybody's fired up to see each other. So just take inventory of all the people on your team. Have you been doing a good job of cross-matching up? There's a lot of cross relationships happening. Think about it. Number 5, inspect what you expect. Inspect what you expect. There needs to be some kind of a system that you have to follow up, some kind of an accountability, some kind of something to measure your metrics. Maybe it's a leadership call. Maybe there's daily intentions that your leaders send you but you need some kind of structure where people need to be accountable and they feel like they need to be accountable. Because if there's no accountability, if you're not inspecting what you expect from them, they're going to stop performing. Your team's going to stop doing what they need to do to win at a high level. So while it's fun and while you're building a bond and while you're building camaraderie, they need to know that as the leader, you'll be inspecting what you expect. Not only that, but you'll be leading by example. You're never going to ask them to do something that you're not doing. What kind of a leader does that? You want to build a team? That's for a different podcast. Leading by example. So with your team, you need to inspect what you expect. Figure out how to do that. Put some systems in place. I don't care how you do it. Figure it out. If you need some help with that, reach out to me. And number 6, never give up. Never give up. It's going to take time to be successful in the team building business. You're going to feel like you had your team started 3, 4, 5 times, and then you're starting again from scratch. You got to be patient. But here's what I'll tell you. Because it's going to take some time, because it's not overnight, you really have to make sure you're spending your time with the right people. If you're not spending your time with the right people, that might be reflected in 2 or 3 years from now. And by the time you wake up on that subject, you'll have been 3 years down the road. Be patient. Give it some time. Start with the right people. Establish those relationships. Build that bond. And really make sure that you're spending time with the right people. Look, you guys, building a team is not easy, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Other than getting married to my wife and having our 3 kids, building a team has been my greatest honor in my life. It's amazing. It's such a great feeling to have all these human beings that you've helped become successful in life, and the way they feel about me and the way I feel about them. And we take a bullet for each other. We travel the world together with our team. We have success with our team. We're at birthday parties with our team. Having a team is amazing. The bigger the dream, the bigger the team. If you're not in a business right now where you can build a team, I highly recommend you checking that out. All right, you guys, I appreciate you being here. Please take some time, subscribe to our YouTube channel, give this some love, like it, share it on social media. I love the podcast version. iTunes, Spotify, our podcast is blowing up. It's the fastest growing of all our channels. Go check it out on podcast. We appreciate you guys being here today. We love you. Have a great week.